I'm here every Thursday to restore order.
After dumping on rivers and Mississippi State streams last weekend, let's see whose juju he ruins here on this Thursday morning. Back by popular demand, former Alabama offensive lineman, All-American offensive lineman, now part of the SEC network. On the Clemson Georgia Tech call last week for the radio edition, off this weekend, here with us on this Thursday morning. Barrett Jones. Good morning, big fella. How are you, man?
What's up, guys? Yeah, I was just had to have a long talk with Rivers about how she was, publishing my words all around, trying to make me look smart, and then I fall flat on my face like Mississippi State. So thanks a lot, Rivers. Made me look like an idiot.
She does it to me all the time.
Yeah, right.
So,
welcome to the club.
Yeah.
So you were on the call last week. You were in Clemson, and you've seen this story kind of in its face, firsthand point of view with Trevor and Kelly Bryant and everything going on there, and now Bryant leaving the program. Did you get a feel that things were kind of starting to get a little shady around Clemson in the quarterback situation when you were working the game last week?
Oh, there's no doubt. It was a big conversation kind of leading up to it. I broke down a lot of film, obviously, of Clemson last week, and to me, Trevor Lawrence, absolutely, it was obvious, gives them a better chance to win. Now, you might could make an argument that Kelly Bryant gave them a comparable chance to win right now, but I think when you look at Trevor Lawrence's talent level, there's no doubt if they want to beat Alabama and Ohio State and teams like that at the end of the year, which I think is Clemson's goal, Trevor Lawrence and his development and his talent and skill, it's hard to hide. If you watch this guy, some of the throws he makes, he's incredible, and he clearly just needs some more reps. I mean, he's only, I think, 18 years old. He's got the kind of talent. I think he'll be the first. I think he'll be the first pick in 2 years in the NFL draft, first overall. I know that's a bold call, but I think he's that kind of talented. He's a special player. Also has a beautiful head of hair.
Yes, he does.
Seeing it up close in person, I mean, that's some beautiful salad up there. So
fantastic.
Would Saban have been cool with that hair?
If he can play like that.
No, Coach Saban actually has a rule that your hair can never touch your jersey. I don't know. If you notice, all Alabama guys have have it kind of taped up in sort of a ponytail because he says if I put your name on the back of your jersey, then I don't want anything covering it. So you have to keep your hair off of it.
That's right, man. I always wondered what Derrick Henry had it wrapped up in like a bushel back there.
That's why. That's why he did it. Yeah, but I think throughout the game, I mean, for those of you who didn't watch the game, Kelly Bryant came in the first two drives, went 3 and out once. I think got one first down the other time. It was a sloppy start. I mean, Georgia Tech's defense is okay, but Trevor Lawrence came in and I think led 5 touchdown drives in the 5 drives he played before they got the third string guys in there. So he was extremely impressive. His command of the offense. I mean, he has a unique calm and comfort in the pocket for a freshman. I think is very rare. Obviously, he's still got a lot to learn, a long way to go as far as development, but he makes some plays and some throws that are hard to really teach. I mean, the guy has an absolute rocket launcher attached to his right arm. That helps him in everything he does. And I think, the narrative sort of was that Kelly Bryant was the runner. He's the guy who's an athlete. Look, Trevor Lawrence, seeing him up close in person, he's a great athlete. I'm just telling you, this guy, there's not going to be as many design runs, but he can scramble, he can move, and he's a very good athlete. So I was extremely impressed with him in person. I thought it was, if you were in the stadium that day, it was exceedingly obvious that he should be the guy moving forward. I hated to see that Kelly Bryant left. Obviously, I'm sure we'll go into that. I got T-Bob over here tweeting at me. So, I think that was unfortunate, for Clemson. But I get both sides of the argument. But I think it was definitely the right call from a football standpoint to start Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and look, I mean, if I was Kelly Bryant's, if I was Bryant's teammate, I would be upset. It's just a weird kind of situation where, if he wants to play more football, it's probably not in the NFL, so kind of has to leave. Looking at this weekend slate of games, Barrett, there's a lot of brand name matchups, although they're maybe not as exciting as most years. I mean, Tennessee, Georgia probably heading up that list. How about this, though? Sneaky good here. South Carolina versus Kentucky. South Carolina was kind of the Eastern darling once you got outside of Georgia, but Kentucky just going into Florida, getting the win, handling Mississippi State last week. Do you think come Sunday, is Kentucky going to establish themselves as the second best team in the East?
That's a great question. I think I'm kind of a big believer in the old football adage, it's never quite as bad or never quite as good as you think. I think there was a lot of hype going into the year about South Carolina, about how they were going to challenge Georgia early in the season in that game. Yeah, I will say on that prediction, I'd never bought in to that. I think Georgia is far and away the best team in the East. But now I think everyone is kind of gone too far the other way on South Carolina and saying, well, they're not a very good team and they got killed by Georgia. I still think they're a pretty good team. I think Jake Bentley is a good player. I think maybe he was a little overrated coming into the season. But again, I think the pendulum swung too far. Now people have forgotten that they have some good players over there. So I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say South Carolina wins this game. For whatever reason, I think they'll have those guys ready. One thing we haven't seen from Kentucky yet is we haven't seen, they haven't had to deal with a whole lot of continued success in long stretches like this, and it's tough. When you got Florida and you have Mississippi State, you got all these emotional games lumped together. I think there'll be a little bit of a letdown from Kentucky. There's been a lot of press this week. My prediction is, maybe they're reading a few too many press clippings. I see South Carolina winning this one, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be a good game. It might be the game in the SEC that I'm the most excited about this weekend. But because I think we'll really figure out. To me, it's the battle for the second best team in the East right now.
Yeah, look, I agree. That also sounds like, Barrett, you're getting dangerously close to saying rat poison there.
Right.
How about the game in Death Valley this Saturday night? LSU, Ole Miss. I like LSU here. I guess it's just that fear of like, if Ole Miss turns this into a track meet, can this LSU offense keep up?
I think this Ole Miss offense, to be honest with you, is just a little bit overrated.
Okay.
I thought that all year, and I think they're good. Make no mistake, they've got good receivers. Jordan Tiamu is a good player, but I think LSU's defense is elite. So that, and not to bring up my old school too much, but that was the narrative going into the Alabama game. That was going to be a track meet, and then obviously. I wish you could have seen how many texts I got in the first 11 seconds from my Ole Miss friends as Ole Miss, scored on the first play of the game. But then after that, their offense looked pretty incompetent. And look, Alabama has a really good defense this year, but I don't think they're necessarily head and shoulders above anyone else. So I think LSU's defense might be just as good as Alabama's, and so I don't know if I see quite a track meet. That being said, all that analysis being said, this game always gets a little weird.
Yes.
For whatever reason, like. People don't realize Ole Miss LSU is kind of a rivalry game. Like those teams really don't like each other, even though Ole Miss tries to make a rivalry game. I think with everybody, that's just kind of their the way they roll. But it is they don't like each other, and so weird things happen in this game. And Ole Miss has come in there a few times when they shouldn't have won, and they have. So you never know for sure. I still like LSU in this. I think they're consistent enough. I think that defense. I still just think. In some ways, is not being talked about enough. I think they've got stars really on all three levels, and I really like LSU in this one pretty comfortably.
Barrett, we're talking to Barrett Jones, former All-American, Alabama grade here on 104.5, 100.3 ESPN. Barrett, Alabama did not cover the 26 last week, and Tua had his first incompletion on third down of the season. Are chinks in the armor, or are you worried?
Tide looked beatable.
Are you worried at all here?
What a disaster! I know. Look, I think, like I said, we found out really exactly what I said about the defense. I think the defense is really good, and I do think Coach Saban is as good of a recruiter he is. Sometimes he's still underrated in the way he develops talent. He does a great job of developing those guys. There's all kind of stats you can look at about the number of high recruits that turn out to be NFL guys.
Yeah.
Whether maybe he's just a good evaluator, but I think he's a great teacher and coach, actually. So I think he'll do a good job of kind of getting these guys ready throughout the season. They now have, honestly, sort of a, Coach Saban will hate this rat poison, but really some yawners in the month of October. I don't really see him being challenged until November, where they really have a pretty tough schedule. They have to play LSU, Mississippi State, and Auburn in November. So, but I think October will be a pretty sleepy month for the Tide. But I think from Coach Saban's standpoint, it'll give him a chance to kind of continue to work on this defense. Look, this offense, there's not a whole lot to say. The other line can play better. The running game could be a little better. But look, Tua right
He's
now,
unbelievable.
to me,
He's unbelievable.
I'm trying as hard as I'm looking for reasons to not say good things. It's just hard. He's, to me, the best player in the country right now.
12 yards per attempt. 12 yards per attempt.
He's playing at a ridiculous level. It's the way he sees the field, the way he spreads the ball around. Obviously, they have athletes everywhere on the field. It's incredible. It's fun to watch, and I think for most football fans, I think one of the reasons people hate Alabama nationally is they think they're just kind of boring. They can't be bored this year because it's pretty exciting watching him play and just the way he uses the RPO game. They're doing some very clever stuff, but I mean, really, they're just keeping it simple and keeping it into his hands. So, yeah, I guess they can improve on things offensively. I think the offensive line can certainly clean things up. The run game can get better. But I don't see how this passing game, obviously Coach Saban, again, will hate this comment, but it can't get too much better. It's already pretty good. So it's a dangerous group of guys right now, and if they stay healthy, I think that's right now the biggest threat to this offense is if they get some guys banged up, particularly number 13. They better keep him pretty healthy. But then again, he's only playing a quarter and a half each game, so how banged up could he get?
Hadn't taken a fourth quarter snap all season long. Appreciate our boy Matt Sharp for setting this up with us, Barrett. This weekly's been fantastic. Great insight this morning. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to. I'm sure all my predictions this week will be wrong as well. So looking forward to getting shamed again.
Roll Tide.
And Rivers, maybe just don't tweet out any of my quotes this week. Just kind of keep them on the DL.
Send that rat poison one to Roots. Make sure it gets to Saban from Barrett. All right, we'll talk to you next week. There he is, Barrett Jones. We'll close it out next.